And here we go on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, the Hey Mary Kay Cabot edition. And Mary Kay, let's get right to it. As you can imagine, a lot of people want to talk about Odell Beckham Jr., the state of the Browns, all of that. Let's just start with Odell Beckham Jr. This comes from Larry in Medina. Straight up, hey Mary Kay, we're recording this on Monday, so he actually used the right word in this text he sent us. Hey Mary Kay, will the Browns be trading Odell Beckham Jr. today?
Well, that is a great question. I actually really do believe that Odell would welcome a trade at this point so that he could go somewhere where he would be used and really have an opportunity to contribute to a team that is playoff bound, right? Because if somebody's going to trade for Odell at this point in the season, it's a team that really thinks that he could be the last piece of the puzzle, right? So if something like that happened, he would probably be going to a contender. So I think he would want to do that, especially after what happened on Sunday. 1 target for 6 yards. You could see that there was some frustration, some consternation later in that game about some of the things that were going on. And I think he's, I think he's been very patient. I think he's been the good soldier. I think he's played hurt and he's done everything that's been asked of him. But I think it is time for them to at least explore moving him and just putting an end to this folly. It never worked. It never worked out right. And if they can get anything for him, fine. If not, you would still be saving a bunch of money. It's really not about what you can get in return in terms of draft pick compensation. It's basically kind of cutting your losses, eliminating some of the distraction, freeing Baker up a little bit on the field because he plays a little bit more of an unencumbered brand of football when Odell's not out there. And saving yourself about $8 million in cash. So if they can find somebody to do some kind of a creative trade with them, they should go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I was thinking today, we talked about this so much in the off season that, we felt like Baker and Odell were going to figure this thing out. But then I would also, we'd also say, but hey, you get to the end of October and it's not working, then you've got to seriously consider trading him. Mm-hmm. Well, here we are. You're at the end of October and they acquired this guy in 2019. It's not working. So if they don't make a decision before the trade deadline on Tuesday, they're going to have to make a decision in the offseason. So what do you think precipitates basically an Odell trade? And I mean, you said it's not about what you can get back, but do the Browns have to think about that a little bit at least?
I don't think so, really. I don't think it would be as much about the draft pick compensation as it would be about some of the other things, right? I can't remember what Stephon Gilmore went for, but that was not
much, like a 2023 sixth or something like that, or a 2022
exactly.
Sixth.
I mean, when you get to this point, it's about change of scenery, and it is about, again, saving a little bit of cash, saving a few pennies, $8 million, that's nothing to sneeze at, right? And once again, if Baker isn't going to throw him the ball, and Baker would be better served by having somebody else on the field, then it's, to have him around is almost the law of diminishing returns, right? Now, Kevin Stefanski did talk today about how he clears people out and he does all those kind of things, but that's a pretty expensive decoy, right? I mean, once Donovan Peoples-Jones is back, I think you can find a way to accomplish the passing game without having Odell Beckham Jr. on the field when he's really not going to be contributing that much. And I just don't think Baker feels comfortable with him. I think it's pretty obvious now that Baker just does not feel super comfortable throwing Odell the ball.
Yeah, and look, I mean, a lot of that we all kind of know. Some of that is coach speak, right? It's trying to give a guy credit for what he's doing and keep everybody happy and say the right things publicly. But of course, you don't want to pay this much money for a decoy. Your top wide receiver needs to get the football. You don't hear Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray talking about how great of a decoy DeAndre Hopkins is, or and we can go to Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers talking about how much he loves having Devontae Adams as a decoy. The ball's got to go to these guys.
Yeah, not only that, remember a couple of weeks ago when he talked, he said, I'm James Harden, I'm a shooter. right? I'm not just a blocker. I'm not out there, to block and be a decoy. That's not what you have in Odell Beckham Jr. around for. He's a dynamic playmaker, and you have to find a way to get the ball into his hands. One thing I'm surprised that they haven't done more of